Hi, welcome to Phi Chi Theta's Beyond the Resume, Episode 3. My name is Carter Buck, and today I'm sitting with Ryan Menchey. Ryan is a junior finance major and was the president of his pledge class, the Zis. This is now his second semester in PCT, and in Fisher, he is the external vice president of mentorship for Fisher Citizenship Program. So, welcome, Ryan.
Thanks for having me, Carter. Truly thrilled to be here with you today.
That's great. So, before we get started, just tell me a little bit about yourself, and more importantly, who is the man beyond the resume?
For sure. Yeah. So I am Ryan. I'm a third year finance major. I'm from York, Pennsylvania, a little south of Harrisburg. Uh, Other than PCT, like you said, I'm involved with mentorship. I'm also a Fisher peer mentor for a couple of students. In addition, why I came to Ohio State, my mom is from Columbus, so that was kind of pretty easy to root for that football team growing up. And Fisher's obviously exceptional, so came to this campus, loved it. Here we are. In addition, I've had a job at a golf course the past 2 summers, so I'm big into golf. In addition to sports, especially college football, uh, watch a ton of movies, less TV shows, but we can talk about that. And then big music junkie. My dad works at a music store, so grew up on a bunch of dad rock, classic rock and roll, and we're missing Eddie Van Halen right now. So rest in
Yeah,
peace to a
RIP.
legend. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear about you. And can you talk a little bit about this summer? You were at UTS as an accounts receivable intern. So just talk to that for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm sure you know, as a big investor guy, Utz had an IPO this summer after being a small family-owned company in Little Hanover, Pennsylvania for 100 years. They finally went public. So unfortunately, I didn't really get to see a whole lot of that spectrum of things. I worked more in accounts receivable and collections. So much of that, I was fortunate to be in person, which was really good. I got free chips on the job. They're pretty good. I highly recommend the crab chips that they manufacture. But
That's an
really, just
interesting flavor.
it totally is, and it's like they've got a base of fans in Maryland. I can tell you that much, and so they crave that stuff. So definitely encourage you to try it. I don't even know if they have it out here, but let's hope so.
I kind of want to try it. It sounds
Yeah,
gross. I'm not going to lie, but I want to
no,
try it. I trust your judgment.
it is kind of revolutionary. It changed my life. Um, and then, other than that, just pulled a lot of invoices this summer. So that was pretty sweet. I made a database for them to use with all their vendor and customer information now that they've gone public. I'm hoping that helps them. Uh, I'm not really in touch with them anymore, but, I would hope that my work has led them to do better things now. But other than that, yeah, it was a 40-minute commute every day. Listened to a bunch of podcasts on the job because the office was not crowded due to COVID. But overall, really enjoyed it. Good experience and a strong company to work for, I'd say. So I'm happy with it.
Glad to hear it. So, what were some of those podcasts you were listening to?
Oh well, I'm a big pardon my take guy.
Okay.
I don't love Barstool Sports, but
Neither do I.
those two guys on that podcast are truly incredible. Big Cat and PFT just don't really care. Um, I like to say I kind of like to live life like I'm on Twitter, and I feel like they do too. So can definitely relate to them. Uh, as a business major, it's kind of required. I have to have like a financial podcast. Pretty basic. I just listen to Squawk Box, but that's dropped every morning. Get some insight from both viewpoints of things. I think that's cool to listen to. And then there's a couple golf podcasts that I listen to as well. For those interested, No Laying Up is tremendous content.
And words to live by.
Mm,
Never lay up.
yep, you're totally
You have a
right. That's
320 carryover water? I'm going for it.
I 100% agree. You can't be an alpha if you lay up on a par five.
No, never.
Hmm.
All right, good. I'm glad your head's in the right place then.
Most definitely.
And then in your notes you gave me beforehand, you mentioned that this summer you spent a lot of time educating yourself more on national issues. So could you talk a little bit about what that means for you and how you did it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with after George Floyd's passing in the end of May, I guess, um, really just it was all over Twitter, obviously, and I couldn't avoid it. So, um, you know, coming from where I come from, not super diverse, and a lot of people share the same opinions. It was good to see, both people in PCT and both people who are respected in the media talk, kind of about the Black Lives Matter movement and sort of stress that, this is important. And there are ways that we can change and get better together and fix this without having to, completely overhaul the system or attack one side or over the other. And I think I started to realize, especially, that it really is fixable. Just people have different ideas of how to do it. I know Arian Foster, former running back for the Houston Texans, was on Pardon My Take and talked about it. That was a really good listen. Scott Van Pelt from ESPN had a really good listen. He had Damian Woody on, who's a former NFL player.
I
So I
watched
think,
SVPs too. That was really good.
yeah, I loved it. And I think, for people who are saying like keep politics out of sports, like that's, up to you. It's your choice what you want to consume. But I think for me, it was really good, as a big sports fan, to have that as kind of my gateway to listen to and hear that as well. And then also, as I'm a big TV fan as well. So I watched The Wire, which is on HBO. Takes place in Baltimore, Maryland, so close to home. And essentially, the premise of that is just how, in a major American city, cops, drug dealers, unions, politicians, kids in schools, and the media are all ultimately compromised by one another. And it really just shows how, those systems work together, and how one party's corruptness really hurts and especially negatively impacts all of the others. And it's really powerful, I would say. It's, obviously it's a narrative to fiction work, and the acting is impeccable. The seasons about the politics and education system in the city, I feel like everyone should watch. Personally, the education one, there's four kids who are the lead actors in that, and they're incredible. So that show really spoke to me as well. And I think just consuming a multitude of media that talked about that really gave me a different perspective than I had before. And obviously, I'm no expert by any means, but certainly good. Really helped to be aware of all that.
Yeah, I come from a similar background of you. Although I'm from a big city, Charlotte, North Carolina, I grew up in all private Catholic schools that were pretty much like borderline predominantly and exclusively white. We had almost no diversity in my high school. And even more than that, beyond just racial diversity, it was also diversity of religion and thought, that it was all privately educated kids for most of our lives in the same school system because there's not many Catholic schools down south. So I
Hmm.
knew most of these kids from elementary school. And then also the fact that we were all Catholic for the most part made it that I really saw no diversity until I came to college. And coming here is where it really stood out to me, especially with George Floyd triggering all of it,
Hmm.
um, or making it more aware. Obviously, didn't trigger it. It's been going. This battle's been fought for a long time, but I saw that it's really easy for us when we see someone or we see racism. It's easy for us to just condemn it in our mind and not say anything out loud and just agree that hey, I'm not racist, so I'm doing my part. And I've noticed myself where I see someone doing something racist or saying something racist, and I don't say anything. And now that the awareness has been spread that I can play a bigger role than that, I've been working on actually saying something when I can, and going that extra step to do more than just being not racist. You have to be proactively fighting racism.
Absolutely. And I think, like you said it, and you came from a school system that was largely white, mostly Catholic. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think anybody on either side is saying that. It's just, you know, there are different perspectives and other ways uh, to live in America other than that. And I think, some people who don't support the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. I can't explain all the reasons, but one of them might be, they feel attacked. It's like, why are you calling me out as a white person in America? And I don't think it's, to be targeted at all. It's not supposed to make them feel bad about being white. That's not the point at all. I think it's just saying, you've never been, targeted because of your skin color. in this country before. So I think there's a lot of layers to it that we could obviously go on and on about, but I think that's a big one for sure.
I totally agree. And
Mhm.
then to segue into that with ending social stigmas, you mentioned that you had social anxiety in college, or maybe still have social anxiety in college. Could you talk a little bit about how that has affected you and what you've done to deal with it?
Yeah, for sure. So I think those that know me now, especially, see me as a very outgoing person, which is definitely true. Another thing they know about me is that I have like a very small palate for the foods I eat. Massive chicken fingers fan. I'll once again shout out Mara Raybird for being a huge fan as well. Um, but I think those two things, especially towards the end of my high school career, I kind of realized. Just having this small palate, I had an issue, and uh, my mom talked me into going to see a dietitian about it, and we kind of figured out that it just stems a lot from anxiety, and I learned that was affecting me in social situations. Always stressed out around people, and like that's no way to go through life. I didn't realize it at all. I assumed I don't need to be medicated. I feel completely normal around people, but I think like now that I'm more aware of that, and how many other people have it, it's crazy to me to see like how many different forms it comes in. There's obviously shy people, and that's the stigma most people see, that social anxiety just makes you shy, and that's not the case. Like I'm, I love being around people. Um, Love talking to people that I've never met before and holding conversations with them. And I still had it. Not so much anymore after just being medicated and stuff like that. I feel a lot more comfortable in these situations, but I guess that'll always be with me. So I think just having that understanding of people, which of course goes with what we talked about with the Black Lives Matter movement. I think know your life isn't everyone else's. Everyone goes through a different experience, and I think it's just important to have that mental capacity to know that everyone's going through it. Everyone's going through it differently, and what may be best for you isn't best for everyone else.
Yeah, like you said, so I haven't known you too long, only 2 semesters now. When I first met you, you were extremely outgoing and still are. So it really surprised me when you told me that you dealt with social anxiety. And I think it goes to show that no matter what, everyone has something going on and we're all dealing with something. So it's good to see that like you shouldn't be embarrassed or afraid to speak out about whatever you're dealing with and get the help you need.
Yeah, totally. And it's like, I'll be the first to say it. I come from a really good upbringing and solid background. And, um, you know, some people would see coming out saying, I have social anxiety is asking for pity. No, I think it would be fragile not to come out and say that. I think that's a part of you. It's a layer of you as a person. And I think that's the beauty of meeting all these people. And I think PCT emphasizes that more than anything. And it's kind of given me a platform to be myself more than anything. So owe a lot to this organization, but you're absolutely right. Like a lot of people would find that surprising that someone like me could be anxious in social settings, but I suppose it does impact other people in different ways. For me, it was like my eating disorder. I would not eat more than like 5 foods growing up, and still struggle with that. So there's obviously a lot of layers to it that we could talk about, but again, just having that understanding really helps.
That's well said. And I know that a lot of people that may be dealing with anxieties or anything else don't even realize that they actually have an issue. Like you said with your food palette, you didn't realize that was a problem. And the saying is people just say that's who I am. So how do you suggest people realize that they may need to get some help?
Yeah. So the first way to do it is totally just, be comfortable around your support system, and any stigma you might have, um, you know, about appearing fragile, or if you come from a good upbringing, like, this can't be me. Like, this just sounds like I'm begging for pity. Um, just let all that go. Let it go. And I think just being able to talk to people that you're close with in your support system, even those who are distant from you and you haven't talked to in a while, but will have your back. Reach out to them, because, like you said earlier, I think everyone's going through it in a different way. And it's especially not easy in this social media revolved world where we either see really good things on the internet or really bad things, and you don't see a lot of those small moments in the middle. So I think just having that connection on a personal level with people really brings you back to earth and helps you realize, oh, there's more to life than what's on Twitter or Instagram. And I think being able to recognize that as a first step, and then reaching out to those friends and family that you have, um, you can only get better from there.
That's really great to hear, and thank you for the advice for anyone that may need it. The next thing is that you did not receive a bid your first rush, and I think a lot of people don't realize just how competitive PCT and all of the business rats in general are. So, could you talk a little bit how one, not receiving a bid your first rush is pretty common, and two, just talk about how like not to get discouraged and realize that it's so worth coming back out a second time, and just show us your development.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like this isn't a pity party. It's just, this is what happened. So I think for me, the first time I rushed was a really good experience. The first person I really met was currently my big from episode one, Dewey Contrin. And I developed a really good connection with him, I thought. Just didn't get to know enough people. That's really all there is to it. I didn't get to know enough people, and I didn't really have a clear idea in my head about the impact I wanted to have in this organization and how I'd pay it forward to this really strong friend group and network of people of diverse and unique backgrounds. And I didn't really grasp that the first time I rushed, which solely on me. I didn't get that from the presentation when I probably should have. And I think the second time I really saw more to that and had a clear idea that I totally want to be involved with this organization. I want to make an impact, do a lot with it. And, I would say, in the small roles that I've had as pledge class president, serving on pledge class committee with Steph and Michael Fox, it's been really cool to see how passionate everyone really is about this organization. I know a lot of people will get involved in things at college just to have it on the resume, but I think I speak for everyone in PCT saying that they absolutely love this organization. That's why we pay the dues. It's why we come to these events, and even in these times where everything's virtual, just to see how much everyone cares about this group of friends is really awesome to see. So the the competitive nature of Rush, definitely should not scare you away. Especially, if you don't receive a bid, that's no big deal at all. If anything, more people the second time, and I think that really helped me. So definitely don't shy away from rushing. It's been a great experience.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And now I want to segue into something I know that you and I both can really talk a lot about, and that is college football,
Hmm.
the greatest sport on earth.
There
So
is truly nothing like it, Carter. And if you're a Bengals or Browns fan, like a lot of people up here,
go
it's kind
Browns.
of all you got. So um, the NFL is constantly a tough scene. Sundays are terrible, but man, those 12 Saturdays in the fall are euphoric if
Well,
you're a
speak for
Buckeye fan.
yourself. I'm getting my Super Bowl tickets for the Browns this year. This is our year. I am
Mm,
beyond confident, but
okay. I,
um,
I thought that was last year, Carter.
it's been the past 18 years, but
That's
this is
pretty
actually the year.
awesome. Okay.
And then, yes, you couldn't be more correct that those 12 Saturdays are the best Saturdays of the year,
Hmm.
especially when you're an Ohio State fan. And I am pumped that we're back. I really was getting nervous that we wouldn't have a season this year because I grew up a Buckeye, so that's been a large part of my life.
Hmm.
And opening up in Nebraska, that's an easy win. Not nervous at all.
Yeah,
Penn State
let's
on Halloween. Let's go.
let's put this on the record. We are not going to lose to Nebraska. So after you watch that game on October 24th, when we put up 70 and pummeled Nebraska, I want you to know that Carter and I called it first. We guarantee you that we're going to cover the spread and go even further
We'll
than the
double the
analysts
spread.
expect. Yeah, we've been waiting a while to play that game, so it's coming. And then Penn State week 2 is definitely going to be a challenge. But you know what?
Nah,
I'll
we
say
blow
it.
them out. Heard it here.
I, yep. So I think without fans at that game, they stand no chance. I think the whiteout environment is the only reason Penn State football is at the level that they are. And without that, you know, they stand no chance. I think James Franklin, as a head coach, kind of a disgrace, running the ball on 4th and 5 against us 2 years ago. Just mental lapses here and there to really cost that team. So I look forward to steamrolling them and most likely going 9-0 and receiving a playoff bid. It's going to be awesome.
And then national championship.
This is the year. That's why Fields is coming back. Wyatt Davis is coming back. Sean Wade's coming back. It really just goes to show how well Ryan Day has kind of developed this platform and this team around us. The camaraderie is awesome. The
The
players love it
greatest
here.
receiving core in the country.
Oh, it's
It,
absurd. I
it'll
mean,
be a air raid offense.
Chris Olave is going to be a first round pick, but the fact that Garrett Wilson and Julian Fleming aren't even getting talked about right now, if I'm a defensive back anywhere in the country, that's terrifying to hear. So, and actually, I wanted to say this too. This is why fall is the best season of the year. I think growing up, it was always summer because we could do absolutely nothing in the summer, and that was kind of fun. There is nothing like waking up at 9 a.m. on a mid-October day when it's like 48 degrees outside. You click College Game Day on your TV and just watch that for 3 hours. No feeling will ever compare to that. That takes me back because I think you and I both know growing up as Buckeye fans as a kid, that's the stuff I lived for. So actually, be on campus and be a part of it is so cool. So really
That's
looking
true.
forward to
Yep,
it.
I agree
Mhm.
too. Fall is the best season. You have the
Yes,
perfect weather. In Ohio, it kind of sucks. It gets cold quickly, but in North Carolina, fall would stick around for like a month and a half.
totally. Yep.
And yeah, you have college football, so that's really all you need. And you have that overlap of college football and NFL.
Absolutely. And this year's weird, obviously. I don't really like the fact that all these sports are going on at once. It's kind of overwhelming. But
I don't have time.
seriously, I've got things to do. So that kind of sucks, but it's okay. And I think I'm really excited for this year just because Michigan just lacks any strength whatsoever right now. I think with McCaffrey transferring away, if Joe Milton's their quarterback, I mean, good luck going 500 in the Big Ten with that. I really look forward to it.
It's going to be ugly watching Joe Milton deal with our defense.
Yes, Harbaugh will go 0-6 against us after this year. I think that's clear. The devil wears khakis, and uh, they're gonna get steamrolled. Uh,
I think Ryan Day wasn't kidding. We do hang 100 on him this year, and I cannot
yes.
wait to see it.
The fact that that beef occurred over a virtual meeting on Zoom is beyond electric. I can't wait.
We have to bring back the Bo and Woody era of hate.
hmm
That's what I
You're
want back again.
exactly right. Yes, so here for that.
Good. And then you also mentioned in because we'll get out of college football. I know a lot of people
They definitely
don't
don't care.
don't care about us blabbering on, but
hmm
we'll talk about your music and movie taste because you put that on my sheet. So
Oh
first of
yeah.
all, you like rock, like dad rock, and I'm
Yes.
right there with you. I love rock.
hmm
So give me some bands. Who do you like?
So, for me, the best three off in the 60s and 70s got to be the Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, and Led Zeppelin for me. Just growing up, discovering them all the time. Simply incredible. All great songwriters. They've got it down. Um, Eddie Van Halen recently died. Van Halen, I think, is my dad's favorite band ever. So that kind of struck a chord with him. But Eddie on guitar is simply a virtuoso. He can do no wrong and made that instrument like his own character. So I respect that from anybody. And I think I'm also big into grunge, so Nirvana's awesome. And then a couple bands currently, I saw Camp from Columbus and I saw Mount Joy from Philadelphia. Saw both of them at drive-in concerts. Shame I couldn't see them in a legit concert, but they're both very good. And I also highly recommend The War on Drugs from Philadelphia, not the movement, the band. Um, it's they bang. It's really good. So if anyone's into like a mix of Heartland rock, like John Mellencamp style, and then current alternative indie stuff, they bridge the gap perfectly.
All right, I agree with your music taste. Other than grunge, I'm not a grunge guy, but
Really?
yeah, but for rock, I really like, Led Zeppelin's good, Jimi
Mm-hmm.
Hendrix, um, the Beatles. I don't put them in the same class as those guys. I think it's honestly they're a genre of their own.
Let's be real, they're kind of lame.
Oh,
But
I
they
wouldn't go that
did
far. I do like the Beatles a lot,
they
but
they innovated enough to the point where it's okay.
yeah,
Their
I don't even call
experimental
them like
albums are great,
yeah,
but
they're their own genre, so that's fine.
yes.
And Led Zeppelin's great as well.
Yeah, and I think Jimi Hendrix is unequivocally the best to ever do it on guitar.
Oh yeah,
So you mentioned that. I mean, if anyone hasn't listened to him, get your life together.
yeah. Go put on some Jimmy and just relax.
Vibes. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, and then your movie taste. Let's talk about movies. Give me your top
Oh,
three.
yeah. So I'm a big David Fincher guy. I think he's my favorite director. He directed The Social Network, Fight Club, to name a few. His best movie is actually Zodiac, released in the best year ever, 2007, for many reasons. But Zodiac is just about the Zodiac killer, but less about the Zodiac killer than it is those investigating the case. It's a slow burn, pretty long movie. I think that's got to be my favorite. Um, it would be cruel to not throw Shawshank in the top three.
Thank you.
Um,
Best
so
movie of all time.
yeah, I mean that's got to go there. You kidding me? Like Robbins and Freeman in that movie, the chemistry between those two cannot be topped.
And
It's
shout
it's
out
so
Ben
good.
Adrian for being a hater of Shawshank.
It, are
He
we on
doesn't
record
think it.
saying that?
Yes, I'm on record. Ben Adrian does not think it should be the number one movie on IMDb, and he's wrong.
So let me be clear. That's a disgrace. Ben Adrian also thinks that Amadeus is one of
Oh,
his
that is his
favorite
number
movies of all
one.
time. If you're gonna, it's good, but if you're gonna put that on that pedestal and just cut down on Shawshank, I have a serious problem with that. So any taste that he has, you can throw that right out the window. And I'll
Good.
I'll culminate my top three, I guess. Um, Eh. All right, we'll switch the genres up. Big super bad guy. Also released in 2007, might I add. Kind of obsessed with that year. But, you know, Jonah Hill and Michael Cera in that movie are brilliant. And the fact that Seth Rogen wrote that when he was so young is so funny to me. And I think Bill Hader and Seth Rogen as the cops in that movie delivered one of the funniest performances I've seen in a movie. So cannot recommend that enough. It's so rewatchable too.
I've been under a rock. I've actually never seen Superbad,
So
so
I know a lot
I'm
of
a
people who
disappointment.
haven't. Just get there. One of these nights, watch it.
Yeah, I'll pound it out.
Instantly will get to the top of your list. It's so good.
Well, my top three is Shawshank, easily number one, League of
Mm-hmm.
Its Own, best movie of all time. I've seen it probably 30 times.
Okay.
And then Interstellar, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Christopher Nolan guy. I've never seen
Okay.
one of his movies I didn't like. For example, Dunkirk got some hate. I absolutely loved Dunkirk.
I was a fan of it. Yes.
And then um, Goodwill Hunting
Mm.
is number three.
I I
One of the
can't go
few
without
movies that's
mentioning
made
it.
me cry.
It's up there, man. That's a guy cry film, and I think Shawshank is too.
Shawshank's
Um,
rough to watch too.
Yes, brutal. But those are two great movies, both from the '90s. Um, Remind me again. I can't remember things. What was your number two?
Interstellar.
Okay, so there. Nolan's great. Don't get me wrong, but Tenet kind of sucks.
Oh, I
Um,
disagree 100%. Tenet was so good.
wow. All right, let's not divide the viewership here, but I just simply don't think it earned the right to be that confusing.
Yeah, I was baffled, and I'm gonna have to watch it probably two more times to fully appreciate it. But I
Mm-hmm.
really liked it.
Okay, fair enough. I'd also like to plug the best app on the planet. It's called Letterboxd. It's just social media, but for movies. So I have just a running diary of all the movies I've seen. I think I follow like 10 people in PCT who are fairly active on it. Um, but that's the best thing ever. And I think during
I'll download that
quarantine,
right now.
yeah, in quarantine, it gave me like a base of people to see like what they thought of movies, even if like they weren't new movies. Like I rewatched the Godfather trilogy, and just going through those reviews was kind of cool. It's like, oh, there's a community of people who want to talk about this movie, so
I'll check
highly
it out. That
recommend
sounds
it.
fun.
Oh yeah.
All right, and then before we finish up, because we're almost out of time here,
Mm,
I have some quick questions for you, just to
all
pick
right.
your brain. So, Up first, what's your favorite meal from Scott or any other dining hall on campus?
Uh, this is the easiest answer ever. It's chicken tenders. From Scott, they're not that great, but if it's so worth the trek if you live on North to go to Mirror Lake and get the three tender combo
Sure, those are
with
good.
the Hawaiian roll and the milkshake. Oh my gosh, best use of dining dollars campus offers. It's so
That
good.
is a very good meal.
Hmm.
Okay, where could I find you on the weekend?
Uh, ooh, depends. If it's in the fall or the summer or the spring, to be honest, probably a golf course. Obviously, if it's college football season, you won't see me there. I will be watching that at someone's house or at the game. In the winter, I'm definitely going to be inside. Watching college basketball is pretty good, or just binging a TV show or getting through the movie watch list. That's easy answer there.
Good stuff. I'm surprised we didn't talk more about golf, because we're
Hmm.
both big golfers, but
Yeah,
that's good to
that's
hear about.
okay. Listeners aren't ready for that.
Yeah, that'll have to be a separate day.
Yes.
Um, if money weren't a factor, what is one thing you would do in your life? So anything in your life, what would you do?
Mm. Um, I definitely want to go to London. I feel like I've never been out of the country before. I kind of love U.S. geography, but there's obviously so much more out there, and I think like the easiest place to start would be probably the UK. I'm a very relaxed Tottenham Hotspur fan, so checking London out would be kind of cool. A lot of history to it, and it's a solid place to live. I feel like so definitely want to go there sometime.
All right, I'm right there with you with the relaxed fan. I'm a very relaxed fan of Arsenal.
Okay, so
As in, I barely know
theoretically,
what's going on,
yes.
but I'm a fan.
Theoretically we're supposed to despise each other, but how could I ever despise someone like you, Carter Buck? That's
Oh,
not
that's good to
happening.
hear.
Hmm.
All right, this next question's a little tough, but if you had to delete all but three apps from your phone, which three would you keep?
I know I just plugged Letterbox, but it's gonna have to go.
That's unfortunate.
Number one is Twitter, and it's not really close. Kind of seems like a cesspool this year, but it's so funny. So that's got to be there. Number two, Spotify. How else am I gonna feel alive? And number three, definitely Venmo. Um,
Interesting.
I speak for a small faction of people who use Venmo as social media. It's kind of fun and it's really awkward liking other people's payments, but there's some good ones. And also, it's just really useful to have.
I would not have expected that. But that's actually a pretty functional decision.
Hmm.
All right, last question. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? And this could actually be anywhere.
Anywhere. Columbus, Ohio. It's the best place ever. Anywhere in the Midwest. I know you and I both are obsessed with the grit the Midwest has.
Yeah, Columbus
Um,
invented grit.
Yes, it really did. So, people sleep on it. The center of the country, flyover states, doesn't get much attention. No, that's all wrong. Columbus is the best to ever do it. So, Indianapolis is pretty cool. Chicago's kind of cool. Uh, Nothing's like Columbus. So that's my answer for sure.
All right, Ohio against the world.
Absolutely. You said it, brother.
All right, and before we finish up, could you speak a little bit about the impact that PCT has had on you and why you think someone would benefit from rushing and just checking us out?
Totally. Yes. So I would say, although it may not seem like it, uh, professionally, I feel like I've grown a lot since pledging PCT. Really enjoyed the pledge process. I know the industry immersion event, uh, that may not be what it's called, but whenever we talked about the different fields of finance and business as a
Yeah,
whole,
that's what it is.
okay, good. I picked up a lot from that. So that was great during pledge class. So I feel professionally with that and being, mocked for interviews a lot. That really helps. And just having that base of friends who are pushing you to succeed and get better, but not to the point where it's aggressive or cutthroat. That's been really good. And then I think for me socially it's been fantastic. I, had small groups of friends before I pledged PCT, but I think having a really tight knit group of friends, just a large group who's down to do things together all the time, really no matter what it is, just always willing to try new things, has been really cool. It's allowed me to kind of be myself, get to see a lot of different perspectives from people all over the place. Um, that's been really cool. And I think just knowing that I've got lifelong friends in this fraternity speaks volumes to the character and class it has, and how people who have been in this fraternity before have passed the torch to those in it now, and we really want to uphold the way it is. So, and I think everyone's very proud of that.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth, and I would like to thank you for joining me today. It was great to hear a little bit more about you, and hopefully everyone enjoyed it. And I'd like to thank everyone that listened to Phi Chi Theta's Meet the Brothers Episode 3 with Ryan Menchey.